but I'm still in the funk. So maybe it's just a cycle of life. I don't even know. If I knew, I would tell you guys. Basically, I need to like reel it in and bring it home. Hey everyone, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is me being in a total funk, slump, bleh kind of a mode. And I don't know what happened, but all of February has been like this. And I have been struggling to connect with books. I have been struggling to like find anything of interest on TV to watch. I am kind of had some fits and starts with some writing bits, but like completely unfocused there as well. And I don't know what brought it on, and I don't know how to get out of it. And I was thinking about, like, I was watching some other people's videos about how to get out of a reading slump because like, can't figure it out myself. But I've decided that I feel like a reading slump is kind of like writer's block, and it's kind of like a cold where you just have to ride it out. So I have tried like all my tricks of the trade. Nothing has totally worked. I think I may have found a book that's finally has me a little bit excited. And I don't know, I just thought I would talk about kind of what's been going on this month. We are in the middle of Thriller-a-thon right now. I basically failed a contemporary-a-thon. I finished one book. I had that giant old TBR, which if you didn't see it and you are interested in it, I'll link it down below for you guys, even though the time has passed. But I thought I would talk a little bit about the books I tried to read, some of the hiccups I had along the way, and then maybe just by talking about it, you guys are a little bit like my therapy, maybe I can work my way out of the hole that I'm in. So I was riding high in January. I read so many great books. I finished the month with Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough, and I loved it. Not a spoiler, but if you haven't seen my full review on it, I'll link my January wrap-up for you guys too. But I totally loved that book. It was like a great way to end the month, and I was just feeling like a boss. Like I just had so many good reading experiences in January, and I was feeling good about myself. And then I was gearing up for Contemporary-a-thon and Thriller-a-thon, which overlapped by a day. And I just kind of wanted, like, realistically, I was figuring I would get to like one book before Contemporary-a-thon started. And I picked up One Little Secret by Kate Houlihan, which is a book that I got for Christmas. And I was kind of aware of Kate Houlihan, but hadn't read anything by her. And then I picked up one of her books last summer, didn't read it. I saw her at Thriller Fest. And the only reason I didn't read it is because there's just so many dang books to read. But this was kind of a bunch of friends who go away to a house on the Hamptons for the week. All their kids are off at camp, they're neighbors, and somebody gets murdered. So it's sort of closed circle-ish, even though they're not like isolated, but somebody in the house theoretically killed somebody else in the house. And if you guys follow me, you know that I am writing a mystery, and it is in that similar vein of there's a group of friends who are somewhere, I'm too superstitious to talk about it, and one of the friends winds up getting murdered, and they all kind of turn to each other to figure out who did it because they all think one of them did it. So I've kind of been turned on to these kinds of books. It's a trope I've always loved. It's one of the reasons why I decided to write my current book with that trope in mind. And I hate to say I didn't love this book. And like I said, I'm not going to go into like deep dive reviews here. I'll do that in my February wrap up. But this didn't quite hit the mark for me in the way that I wanted it to. And I enjoyed her writing, so I'm still totally a fan of hers. And I feel like all of these books, because my head is so muddled right now, like I need to sit in them. I did put up my Goodreads review of this. If you're not following me on Goodreads, I'll put my little link below so you can do that, because I definitely do reviews of all of my books. But this was just like a bit confusing. There were so many, it was like character soup at the beginning, just between the parents and the kids and the neighbors and the friends. And I mean, it was just like, it was so much. Like I just literally couldn't keep anybody straight. And then there were parts that I enjoyed, and then there were parts that I didn't. And there was like a subplot I didn't care for. All to say, didn't start my month off with a complete bang with this book, which makes me sad because I was excited for it. And kind of simultaneously, I wound up getting the audiobook of A Simple Favor, which is one of the books that is on my, I have to read this before I'm allowed to buy a new book by this author, because Darcy Bell has a new book that's coming out. And I kind of started this before Contemporary-a-thon, and I wound up listening to the end of it during Contemporary-a-thon. A, because I thought switching to audiobook might get me out of the funk, and B, I had seen the movie already of A Simple Favor, so I knew the story, and I thought maybe if I listened to something that I already knew without really doing a reread, that maybe that would help me. And I don't think it helped me with my slump, but I will say I really enjoyed this. And if I'm being honest, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much had I not already seen the movie, mostly because I found the beginning of this book, which, back it up a minute, this is a book about two women who have children who are in, I want to say kindergarten, first grade, together in school, and kind of unlikely friends. Stephanie is widowed, she's a mommy blogger, and why am I blanking on the other name? Emily is rich, has like this crazy PR career in New York City. She's got this fabulous husband, and she's just sort of like the end all be all. Stephanie's kind of in awe of her, and they become unlikely friends. And one day Emily asks her to do a simple favor and pick up her kid at school, and she'll come get him later because she's stuck at work. And then Emily just never shows up. Never see her again, disappears. So it becomes this great mystery of what happened to Emily, what all is going on. And the beginning of the book is steeped very much in Stephanie's perspective, and Stephanie can definitely read annoying, which she's supposed to be in a lot of ways, and she's supposed to be kind of naive, but Emily is like such a great character. And I have to say, the audiobook of this was strong. There are 3 different voices because you get 3 different perspectives, and the woman who narrates Emily's part isn't Jennifer Beals, but she sounds like Jennifer Beals, who actually was the narrator of Daisy Jones in Daisy Jones and the Six, that I love. And I just think Emily is such a rich and interesting character that I wish there had been more Emily at the beginning, and then I think it would have moved better. I think I might have DNF'd this had I not already seen the movie and knew a lot of what was coming. And I will do a deeper dive into this also, or let me know if you're interested in like a movie versus book. This is pretty true to the movie, although the end of the movie is different than the end of the book. And the end of the movie is much campier. I loved it. Most people, I feel like, because I mentioned this in another video, hated it. I thought it was delightful. Like, I thought the music was great. Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively are tremendous. Henry Golding is amazing. Like, I just love him as an actor. And all in, I just thought it was like this twisty, dark, campy kind of a movie. But I enjoyed this. I enjoyed Darcy Bell's writing a lot. I'm excited for her next book. So, didn't knock me out of the slump, but didn't set me further into it, if that makes any sense. So I had this massive TBR for Contemporary-a-thon, and when it came time to pick my first book, I read so many first chapters, and like I didn't like any of them. Did this massive TBR of all these books I was so super excited about, and when it came time to actually pick one to read, I struggled something fierce. And I wound up starting with Before We Met by Lucy Whitehouse. And I hadn't read anything by Lucy Whitehouse before, but I've heard great things about her. It's a smaller book, so I thought that that seemed like a safe first choice. And I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it 62 pages in. I couldn't connect. I just couldn't get into it. And it's not that the writing's bad or the story's bad. This is a woman, her husband goes on a business trip and he like never comes back. So she starts digging into his past and finds out that he's been lying to her and he's got all these deep dark secrets and nothing connects. And I love it. I love the idea of it. I love the setup of it all. Couldn't connect if my life depended on it. So I'm DNFing it for now. I will pick it up at a later date. I might pick up Lucy Whitehouse's other book, Keep You Close, before I go back to that one. But let me know if anybody's, I know a few people had said they read this when I had did it. That's good English. When I put it up in my TBR video, but like it just wasn't working for me. And then I thought, well, it's Contemporary-a-thon, sister. Maybe you don't read a thriller. So I picked up The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. I actually finished it. It took me all week to finish it. 2, 3, 4, 5 days. It's not terrible. And I liked it, but I didn't diehard love it the way a lot of people love it. but there were parts of it that were cute. There were parts of it that were a little emotional, little tugs on the heartstrings. There were parts that were a little preposterous, a little suspension of disbelief. And this is Tiffy and Leon share a flat. It's a 1-bedroom. For reasons not important to all of this, they're both basically need money. So there's your reason. But she is there at night, he is there during the day. So they never actually meet, but they like literally share a bed. They share everything in this small apartment. And they start to leave notes for each other to communicate. And it's about sort of their developing relationship as well as their individual stories and everything that happens. So cute concept. I did like a lot of the characters in this. I did find a lot of good moments in this, but I wasn't like ripping to get through it. And I think what I've really been craving is a book that like, so I read when I commute on the train, like a book that I don't want to close, that I can't wait to get back on the train to read, that when I come home at night, I definitely want to carve out time to read when I'm at home. Like I will sacrifice other things because I just need to read the book. And it's been a long time. It feels like January wasn't that long ago, but it feels like it's been a really long time since I've been that obsessed with a book. And I miss it. I miss it desperately. So when I finished the Flatshare, I was trying to figure out what to do next. And I finished it before Contemporary-thon ended. And I wound up picking up They All Fall Down, sorry the cover's not here, by Rachel Housel Hall. And this is one that bridged the gap between Contemporary-thon and Thriller Fest because it is a diverse contemporary and it is also a thriller. So this is the and then there were none trope, which I love. So I'm only 60 pages into it, which doesn't sound like much, but basically I started reading it like last night. So I'm super curious to find out what's going on. It is starting so far in a similar way to And Then There Were None, in that we've got a group of strangers. In this case, they have been lured to an island in Mexico under the premise that they're basically on like a reality competition show. And we're following one main character's perspective right now. I don't know if that changes. And basically like she gets to Mexico, they all get on the boat that's going to take them off to the island. So we are literally like on the boat, the island has just come into sight. And we're getting a little snippet of the characters. There's 7 of them in total. And then we're getting more kind of breadcrumbs about our main character and kind of her already messy past that we're learning about. But right now, I was reading it before I started to film this video, and I knew I needed to film a video because not only am I lacking in inspiration in reading and writing, I've been lacking in inspiration with BookTube, I'm sorry, so I'm very behind in filming videos. So I wanted to film a video today, so I had to put this down, but I'm optimistic that this may be, I don't want to put too much pressure on it, but maybe this will help snap me out of it. So normally I find that if like one thing's not working for me, I will switch gears and try something else. And you guys know I love TV and movies, and I'm trash for all sorts of things. And kind of like a try a chapter tag, I've been like trying all these different shows. So my DVR is like jam-packed with stuff. Streaming services, all of it. Like nothing has totally clicked. So I've kind of been muddling through a couple things. But I will say, I've been sticking with Nancy Drew. I hadn't watched it for weeks. So I had, I think like 3 episodes to catch up on. And the last episode that aired, it's always sort of teetered, or it hasn't really teetered. There is some supernatural to it. So I felt like the first few episodes you weren't quite sure, but there's definitely like some supernatural feels to it. This last episode actually like scared me big, like jumped out of my chair. Holy crap, didn't see it coming, like freaked me out. Well done, well played, whoever writes Nancy Drew, because it finally really kind of escalated in a way, and we had a little parallel universe thing going on, which I love, which I don't think I really realized how much I love that. But like I loved it when they did it in Buffy. I loved it when they did it in One Tree Hill, but it was sort of like one of these things like how the world could be if things were different. So I don't know if there's like a book like that. Does anyone know about like a parallel universe book? Because that is something I would be interested in reading. But I was enjoying that a bit. I hate to say I'm still just not loving Riverdale. Like I feel like it's trying and it's just not working, and it doesn't make sense. And I know at the end of the last season, there was like this kind of like last standing image of Betty and Veronica and Archie and Jughead, like kind of standing around a campfire, like barely dressed, as if something really bad had happened. But then like that has yet to be referenced in this season, and it's February, so we're pretty knee deep in it. And we keep having this same ridiculous reveal that isn't gonna be true, but I don't know how they're gonna work their way out of it, but it just like none of it makes sense to me. So I can't figure out what's going on, but I don't feel like there's that same buildup of suspense like there were in other seasons. And I feel like they're trying to kind of do what How to Get Away with Murder did really well, in that it would flash forward to something in the present day and then it would go backwards, and each week you'd be like a week out from that climax of what had happened, so you're building towards it. And like they're trying to do that, so like in the last minute you're seeing something in the future, but this week we're not even like caught up, like we're still in the past. It's like a hot mess. It's just a mess. It makes no sense to me. So let me know if anybody's watching Riverdale, because I cannot make heads or tails of this show, and I'm mad about it because it was so freaking good in season 1, and I don't even know what happened. I don't even know. And in an effort to just sort of like dumb it down a bit, because it's all I can handle, I've watched Vanderpump Rules, which is still moderately entertaining, but still completely painful. Although I will say my heart is with Stassi's boyfriend, Beau, or fiance, Beau. He's doing it this year. He's my favorite. My guiltiest pleasure of them all. Tell me somebody watches Siesta Keys on MTV. Please. I stumbled upon this show last year. I don't even know why or how. It was like when the Lindsay Lohan reality show was on. It was like, it is like the poor man's Hills Laguna Beach. It is these like college age, or like just out of college, early 20s, rich kids in Florida in Siesta Keys. And it's just insane. It's like, it's bad, and it's all this trashy relationship stuff, and they basically just get hammered and fight like physically all the time, like girls pulling out each other's hair, guys throwing punches. One guy like throws a girl's phone in the ocean but then like denies it. Like it's just complete insanity. So gosh, I love that one. Hasn't helped me with my slump, but at least it's kept me moderately entertained in the process. And I don't know anybody else who watches it. Anyone I talk to it about, it is like it only plays in my house. Doesn't exist anywhere else in the universe except in my house. So if anybody is watching Siesta Keys, please tell me, because this is, so much to talk about there. And other than that, I just have had like no attention span. So I watched all the award shows, which I adore, every red carpet. I live for that. Maybe I'm feeling the slump because like red carpet season is over and I don't know what to do with myself anymore. But I just have not had the attention span to actually watch something intelligent, or to watch any of like the Oscar movies. Like I just have been like, I don't know, just like a bit all over the place. So of course it's not all doom and gloom, and saving the best for last. There is one thing that I have connected with strongly this month, and I think on the heels of reading You're a Badass by Jen Sincero, which I read in January, and how much it reminded me of Rachel Hollis and Girl Stop Apologizing and Girl Wash Your Face, I have kind of merged the two together and have actually put into practice tips and tricks and advice from both of those ladies to sort of help propel me forward. And I have been on a hardcore binge of podcasts and YouTube videos, and Rachel Hollis does a conference called Rise. I haven't watched the Amazon video yet. It's on Amazon Prime, but I've basically watched the biggest chunk of what's available on YouTube of her, whether it's interviews or sort of motivational videos that she's put together or other things. And I have been jotting down notes like a crazy person and putting things into action. And I feel like that has been helping me. And whether it is daily gratitude lists, or, you know, making sure you're moving around 30 minutes a day, or drinking your water, or whatever it is, I am intentionally, and it's all about intention and consciously putting those things into play. And I feel like to a degree, everything else is noise around me because I'm laser focused on a lot of this stuff, and it's where my heart is right now. I just want to gobble it all up. Like I just want to learn and be the sponge and take it all in. I just feel like I'm in I guess like a self-help mode right now where fiction isn't appealing to me as much as it usually does. And maybe like, this is what I need. This is what I need to treat the cold. This is what I need to, you know, kind of the only way out is through. This is what is resonating with me right now. So I'm just gonna go with it. It has been sort of just like this great life coach, career coach, cheerleader, best friend, you know, cold hard truth at times, just in my ear, like saying that you've got this, saying to go all in, saying that you have, you know, the power to sort of, you've had the power all along, Dorothy, kind of a thing, and you can get these things done. And it's just, it's working for me. And I realize this is not the most exciting video, or maybe not necessarily my normal content, but I didn't want to not make a video. I didn't want to go radio silent here. I didn't want to not let you guys know what's going on. I also wanted to forewarn you that the February wrap-up is obviously going to be small because I'm just sort of doing what feels right and not forcing myself to read books I don't want to read. I used to do that much more in the past, and I'm just trying to go with the flow and, like I said, do what feels right to me and do what makes my heart happy. So that's all to say. Hopefully I will come out on the other side pretty soon, but I don't feel bad. I'm just confused that I just can't click with things, and that just feels weird to me. Thank you guys so much for watching today and for listening. And if anybody else is in that February funk, just know you're in good company. And, you know, everything comes to an end eventually. So we will get to the other side of this. But hopefully you guys are doing great. Let me know what's cooking on your end of things. And if you're new here, thank you for watching. Not my usual video, but again, just wanted to be a little bit transparent about where I was at with things. But if you like these kinds of videos, definitely give it a thumbs up. And I do put out new videos 2 to 3 times a week. I already have another book video in the queue, so that is coming your way. Hit that subscribe button so you find out when it is coming, and I will see you guys really soon. So thank you again for hanging out today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you guys, I already said this, really soon. Bye, everybody.